He created the largest private space company, revolutionized the automotive industry, and became the wealthiest person in the world. However, documents, testimonies from former employees, and insider sources reveal a completely different Elon Musk. Sexual harassment of female employees, a toxic work environment with fatalities, cryptocurrency market manipulation that led to billions of dollars in losses for investors, secret ties to Putin, and influence on American elections. This is just the tip of the iceberg of his true activities. Today, we will reveal how the son of a South African businessman turned into the most influential and dangerous person of our time. How, under the slogans of saving humanity, he created an unprecedented surveillance system through Tesla cars, used workers as slaves, and built an empire that threatens democratic institutions around the world. In this investigation, you will learn the shocking truth about a man who can determine the fate of entire nations with a single tweet and manipulate global politics for his own benefit. The story of Elon Musk is a story about how technology and money turn into absolute power, and dreams of conquering Mars conceal much more dangerous earthly ambitions. Born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, the capital of the Republic of South Africa, Elon Reeve Musk came into the world during the harshest period of apartheid. His mother, May Musk, née Haldeman, was a successful model and dietitian of Canadian origin, whose career began at the age of 15 and continues to this day. Elon's maternal grandparents were among the first space explorers in North America, which later significantly influenced his passion for space technology. The future entrepreneur's early childhood took place in an atmosphere of intellectual stimulation. At the age of 3, he was already reading, and by the age of 6, he had mastered the basics of mathematics. May often took her son to fashion shows and advertising shoots, where he observed the work of photographers and lighting technicians, sparking his early interest in the technical side of process organization. Studying at Watercliff House Preparatory School turned out to be a difficult period. Little Elon suffered from Asperger's syndrome, which complicated his social adaptation. He could spend hours immersed in his own thoughts, not noticing the outside world, which often irritated teachers. His classmates did not understand his obsession with scientific journals and encyclopedias, which he brought to school instead of comics. At the age of 9, Musk first visited a computer store in Johannesburg, where he saw the Commodore PET. This was a turning point. He spent 3 days studying the programming manual until the store staff asked him to leave. A year later, his parents bought him his first computer, understanding their son's unusual fascination with technology. Elon's teenage years coincided with his parents' divorce in 1980. He chose to live with his father, partly because he felt sorry for him, and partly because of the opportunity to have more freedom for his technical experiments. In the garage of his father's house, he created a primitive laboratory where he conducted chemical experiments and assembled homemade rockets from parts purchased at the local market. At Bryanston High School, which Musk entered in 1984, he faced brutal bullying. Once, a group of bullies pushed him down the stairs, causing a serious injury that left him in the hospital for a week. This incident forced him to take up karate and jiu-jitsu, which later helped him resist bullies. The transition to Pretoria Boys High School in 1986 was an important stage in his education. Here he met a physics teacher who saw his potential and gave him additional assignments in programming and electronics. It was during this period that Musk developed the concept of his first business project, an arcade for teenagers. He even received preliminary approval from the city council, but could not implement it due to age restrictions. During his school years, Musk demonstrated an unusual approach to learning. Instead of traditional note-taking, he created detailed mental maps, connecting different subjects. This system allowed him to quickly assimilate new information and find non-obvious connections between different fields of knowledge. Young Elon often spent weekends at the local library, where he read science fiction and technical literature. The works of Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke had a particular influence on him. He kept a diary where he wrote down ideas for future inventions, including concepts of electric vehicles and satellite communication systems. At the age of 17, while preparing to move to Canada, Musk worked several low-paying jobs, including cleaning a boiler room, cutting wood, and even a short period on a farm near Saskatoon. These jobs gave him an understanding of the value of hard work and the importance of automating routine processes. This early period of Musk's life shaped his future approach to business and innovation. A combination of technical thinking with ambitious dreams, the ability to see opportunities where others see limitations, and a willingness to take risks to achieve a goal. His experience of living in South Africa during apartheid also influenced his understanding of social inequality and the importance of technological progress for improving human life. The widely circulated story that Elon Musk comes from a low-income family and rose to the top of the business world on his own is a carefully constructed PR narrative that does not correspond to reality. In fact, the future billionaire grew up in a privileged environment of a wealthy family in Pretoria, South Africa. His father, Elon Musk, was a successful engineer and influential businessman, co-owner of an emerald mine in Zambia. The family owned one of the largest houses in Pretoria, drove the most expensive cars of the time, and could afford an elite education for their children. Elon Musk not only provided his son with a comfortable childhood, but also became the first investor in his business endeavors, providing significant financial support for his move to Canada and education. It is noteworthy that at a young age, Elon had access to the most advanced computer technology of the time. At the age of 10, he received a personal Commodore VSC-20 computer, an expensive device at the time that was inaccessible to most of his peers. However, the story about independently creating and selling the blaster game at the age of 12 also requires significant clarification. According to eyewitnesses, the main programming work for the game was done by Musk's school friend, while Elon himself showed entrepreneurial skills by being able to profitably sell the finished product. This was the first manifestation of his talent for commercializing other people's developments, a pattern that would later be repeated in the story with Tesla, where Musk joined an already existing company founded by Martin Eberhard and Mark Tarpenning. The privileged position of the Musk family was also evident in educational opportunities. Elon studied at a prestigious private school in Pretoria, and then was able to move first to Canada and later to the United States to continue his education without financial difficulties. Stories about surviving on $1 a day during his studies contradict the facts about regular financial support from his father. Musk's first serious business project, Zip2, was also launched with significant support from his father's capital. Elon Musk invested about $28,000, equivalent to a much larger amount in today's prices, in his son's startup and provided additional funding in the early stages of the company's development. It is important to note that Elon's complicated relationship with his father, which he often mentions in interviews, does not negate the fact of significant financial support from him. The psychological traumas of childhood associated with his father's harsh character coexisted with the material well-being and privileged position of the family in the apartheid society of South Africa. Creating the myth of a self-made man became part of a carefully thought-out PR strategy aimed at shaping the image of an entrepreneurial genius who achieved success solely due to his own abilities. However, documentary evidence and recollections of people who knew the Musk family paint a different picture. The story of a talented person who had significant starting advantages and the support of a wealthy family. This does not diminish Elon Musk's entrepreneurial abilities and innovative thinking, but helps to understand the real context of his formation as a businessman. His success is based not only on personal talent and hard work, but also on a solid foundation of privileged origin and significant financial resources available from an early age. Elon Musk's further path was characterized by the founding of a number of revolutionary companies, which, despite their technological achievements, became known for scandals and controversial practices. The PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, and other projects he created, on the one hand, changed the technological landscape of the 21st century, and on the other hand, gave rise to a series of high-profile scandals in the shadow of the loud political battles and technological achievements of Elon Musk's companies. A systemic crisis of labor relations is unfolding, characterized by massive violations of workers' rights, the creation of a toxic work environment, and ignoring basic labor safety standards. The U.S. National Labor Relations Board, NLRB, has found numerous violations in all of Musk's key companies, SpaceX, Tesla, and Twitter X. The most revealing case was the illegal dismissal of 8 SpaceX employees who dared to criticize their manager's behavior. The open letter that caused their dismissal exposed the discrepancy between Musk's public statements and corporate policy on diversity and professional ethics. Particular attention was drawn to his provocative tweets of a sexual nature, which created an atmosphere of disrespect and discrimination, especially towards female employees. According to Deborah Lawrence, one of the fired employees, a toxic culture has formed at SpaceX, where sexual harassment is not only tolerated but actually normalized. The company responded to criticism aggressively, interrogating employees, exerting psychological pressure, and resorting to direct threats of dismissal against those who dared to express disagreement. A characteristic feature of Musk's management style is the creation of an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty. Employees are constantly under the threat of dismissal, which is used as a tool for control and suppression of any criticism or disagreement. This practice leads to high staff turnover and the loss of valuable specialists. The NLRB investigation revealed a systematic violation of workers' right to unite and collectively protect their interests. Musk's companies actively oppose the creation of trade unions, using various methods of pressure, from direct threats to sophisticated forms of discrimination against inconvenient employees. Particularly dangerous is the practice of concealing occupational safety issues. Tesla has recorded cases where management deliberately ignored warnings about dangerous working conditions, leading to serious incidents. Employees who tried to draw attention to these problems were subjected to harassment and dismissal. Against the backdrop of the presidential campaign and Trump's victory, these systemic violations of labor law faded into the background in the media space. However, the scale of the problem continues to grow. Labor law experts note that known cases may be just the tip of the iceberg, given the strict confidentiality system and employee intimidation. Particular concern is raised by the practice of concluding mandatory non-disclosure agreements, which effectively deprive employees of the opportunity to publicly speak about violations of their rights. This creates a situation where the real scale of the problem remains hidden from the public and regulatory authorities. SpaceX has recorded cases of violations of federal regulations regarding working hours and rest, especially during periods of preparation for launches. Employees are forced to work under conditions of excessive stress and physical exhaustion, which increases the risk of accidents and injuries. The culture of toxic masculinity encouraged by Musk's company leadership creates particularly difficult conditions for female employees. Documented cases of sexual harassment often go without proper response, and victims face further discrimination and pressure. Systematic neglect of occupational health and safety standards has led to the creation of a dangerous work environment in all of Musk's companies. The situation is particularly critical at Tesla's production sites, where workers regularly face injury risks due to non-compliance with basic safety standards. It is noteworthy that Musk's companies actively oppose investigations by regulatory authorities, using teams of highly paid lawyers to delay processes and minimize liability. This creates an atmosphere of impunity and encourages further violations of labor law. Against the backdrop of political success and appointment to a high government position, there is a risk that Musk will receive additional leverage to counter investigations into labor law violations. His influence on the policymaking of the new administration may lead to the weakening of worker protection mechanisms at the federal level. Thus, behind the facade of technological innovations and ambitious projects lies a systematic violation of basic workers' rights, the creation of dangerous working conditions, and the cultivation of a toxic work environment. This situation requires immediate intervention by regulatory authorities and the strengthening of labor rights protection mechanisms. In the period from 2019 to 2022, Tesla found itself at the epicenter of a massive scandal related to user privacy violations. According to Reuters, which is based on the testimonies of more than 10 former company employees, the cameras built into Tesla cars, designed to assist the driver, were systematically used for unauthorized collection of personal data. The video surveillance systems, which the manufacturer claimed were designed from scratch to ensure confidentiality, turned into a tool for mass surveillance. Company employees actively shared video and photo materials recorded by Tesla car cameras through internal communication channels. The content ranged from curious incidents to outright shocking events. The investigation revealed the systematic nature of privacy violations. Employees had access to intimate moments of Tesla owners' lives, including cases of driving without clothes and personal moments in garages. A particularly disturbing fact was the recording of a tragic accident where a child was hit at high speed in a residential area. These materials were actively distributed within the company, creating an atmosphere of impunity and disregard for customer privacy. Tesla's technical infrastructure allowed the collection of significantly more data than was necessary for the functioning of the driver assistance systems. Special software made it possible to determine the geolocation of recordings, potentially revealing owners' home addresses. Moreover, the cameras continued recording even when the cars were parked and turned off, turning them into means of constant surveillance. A paradoxical twist was that Elon Musk himself suffered from these violations. Company employees gained access to a video of his unique Lotus Esprit submarine car, purchased for nearly $1 million. This car, which was used in the filming of the 1977 James Bond movie, The Spy Who Loved Me, was captured by Tesla cameras without the owner's knowledge. The international reaction to the scandal was swift and harsh. The Chinese authorities banned Tesla cars from accessing certain strategic facilities and government districts due to concerns about unauthorized filming. European regulators launched their own investigations, focusing on the compliance of Tesla's practices with personal data protection legislation. Particular attention was drawn to the investigation by the Dutch Data Protection Authority, DPA, regarding the Sentry Mode feature. This mode, designed to protect the car, actually turned into a tool for monitoring the environment and people. Regulators found numerous privacy violations and potential data security risks. The company's attempts to protect its reputation through statements about the anonymity of recordings and their separation from specific users proved unconvincing. Former employees described in detail how easy it was to identify owners through a combination of geodata, recording times, and other metadata. The system that was supposed to protect privacy actually created detailed user profiles. Tesla management's reaction to the scandal was minimal. The company's top managers refused to comment, limiting themselves to formal statements about improving security systems. The introduction of warning signals, such as flashing lights when recording is activated, seems an insufficient measure to protect privacy. Unfortunately, this is not the only area where Musk has used his influence. Elon Musk's impact on the cryptocurrency market has become one of the most striking examples of how a personality with a huge social media presence can manipulate an entire financial sector. Starting from 2020, Musk's tweets and public statements have repeatedly caused large-scale fluctuations in the prices of various cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin and Dogecoin. The most revealing case occurred in early 2021 when Tesla announced a $1.5 billion investment in Bitcoin and plans to accept the cryptocurrency as payment for electric vehicles. This statement provoked a rapid rise in the price of Bitcoin to record levels. However, a few months later, Musk abruptly changed his position, announcing the suspension of Bitcoin acceptance due to the environmental problems of mining. This led to a market crash and the loss of hundreds of billions of dollars in capitalization. Particular attention is drawn to the story of Dogecoin, a cryptocurrency that was originally created as a joke. Musk's regular tweets about Doge led to sharp jumps in price, sometimes by hundreds of % within a few hours. He called himself the Doge Father and promised to send Dogecoin to the moon. Investigations showed that before each such tweet, there was increased activity of large wallets, indicating possible insider trading. In 2021, a $258 billion class action lawsuit was filed against Musk, accusing him of creating a financial pyramid around Dogecoin. The plaintiffs claimed that Musk deliberately inflated the value of the cryptocurrency, knowing about its lack of intrinsic value, and then took advantage of the price drop for his own enrichment. Analysis of transactions shows a complex network of interconnected wallets that became active immediately before Musk's public statements about cryptocurrencies. Experts note the similarity of patterns with classic pump and dump schemes, where artificially created hype is used to manipulate asset prices. A telling case is that of the Baby Doge token, when a single tweet from Musk led to an 800% increase in its value within 24 hours. Further investigation revealed links between large token holders and Musk's inner circle, raising suspicions of coordinated manipulative actions. The U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has repeatedly expressed concern about Musk's influence on the cryptocurrency market. The Commission's internal documents indicate an investigation into possible violations of trading rules and market manipulation. Particular attention was paid to the coordination of actions between Tesla, SpaceX, and Musk's personal investments in cryptocurrencies. In 2023, evidence emerged that Musk's companies used complex schemes to conceal the actual volume of cryptocurrency transactions. Large-scale transactions were conducted through a network of shell companies and offshore accounts, coinciding with Musk's public statements about various cryptocurrencies. The X platform, formerly Twitter, acquired by Musk, plays a special role in the manipulations. The platform's algorithms ensure maximum dissemination of his statements about cryptocurrencies, creating artificial hype and panic in the market. Studies show that Musk's tweets about cryptocurrencies receive disproportionately high reach compared to his other messages. Technical analysis of market data demonstrates a clear correlation between Musk's activity on social media and trading volumes on cryptocurrency exchanges. A few hours before his public statements, an anomalous increase in positions in certain tokens is observed, indicating information leakage and coordinated actions of major players. Financial experts note that Musk's influence on the cryptocurrency market sets a dangerous precedent, where the personal opinion of one person can lead to multi-billion-dollar market fluctuations. This undermines trust in cryptocurrencies as an asset class and creates risks for small investors, who often fall victim to manipulations. Investigations by journalists have revealed the existence of coordination groups that track Musk's activity and prepare massive trading operations before his expected statements. These groups use complex algorithms and bots for instant response to new tweets, amplifying the effect of manipulations. The amount of investor losses from Musk's manipulations in the cryptocurrency market is estimated at tens of billions of dollars. At the same time, the lack of clear regulation of the cryptocurrency market complicates holding anyone accountable for such manipulations, creating an environment of impunity for large players. But this is not the main danger that the world's richest person can pose. The appointment of Elon Musk as co-chair of the new Department of Government Efficiency in the administration of Donald Trump marked the beginning of an unprecedented transformation of the American political system. According to an investigation by NBC News and other leading media outlets, the technological magnate's influence on shaping the future administration is already far beyond any official powers, setting a threatening precedent for U.S. democratic institutions. Musk's financial involvement in Trump's election campaign reached unprecedented levels. The officially declared $200 million in direct investment is just the tip of the iceberg. A large-scale scheme of financial influence on the electoral process is being implemented through a network of controlled organizations, including America PAC. Particular attention is drawn to the scandalous mechanism of daily raffles of $1 million among Pennsylvania voters, a state critical for victory in the presidential election. The decision of the Philadelphia court, which allowed the continuation of this practice despite obvious signs of voter bribery, raises serious questions about the independence of the judicial system. The arguments of Musk's lawyers that the raffles are not a lottery, but represent a reward for participation in political activities demonstrate a sophisticated approach to circumventing electoral legislation. It is telling that the judge did not even provide a detailed justification for his decision, promising to publish it later. Musk's almost constant presence at Mar-a-Lago after the election is a particular concern. According to insiders from Trump's inner circle, the billionaire has effectively taken control of the process of forming the future administration. His participation in top-level confidential conversations, including communication with foreign leaders, creates an unprecedented situation where a private individual without official status gains access to strategic information of national importance. Musk's international connections pose a separate threat to U.S. national security. His business interests in China, where Tesla has huge production facilities, create a potential conflict of interest at the highest state level. The Chinese authorities have powerful leverage over Musk's business, which can be used to pressure American politics. A similar situation is developing with his ties to Russia, especially in the context of the space industry and SpaceX. Musk's attempts to create a parallel center of power within the future administration are manifested in the formation of his own team of loyal individuals. The appointment of Fox News host Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense is just one example of the personnel policy being pursued in the interests of the technological magnate. At the same time, Musk is actively promoting his people to key positions in various government agencies, creating a network of officials loyal to him. A critically important aspect is Musk's control over the social network X, formerly Twitter. This platform has turned into a powerful tool of political influence, capable of manipulating public opinion and spreading beneficial narratives. Algorithmic manipulations with content can significantly influence the perception of political events by millions of Americans. The creation of a new Department of Government Efficiency under the leadership of Musk and Ramaswamy opens up opportunities for a radical restructuring of the federal management system. The established deadline of July 4, 2026, creates artificial pressure for the accelerated implementation of changes that could destabilize the state apparatus. The lack of public administration experience in both department heads only increases the risks of ill-considered decisions. The collection of voter personal data through the mechanisms of America PAC poses a particular danger. Under the pretext of signing petitions to protect constitutional rights, a large-scale database is being formed that can be used for political manipulation and targeted influence on voters. The technological capabilities of Musk's companies allow for deep analysis of this information. Musk's behavior on the Trump team is characterized by an outright disregard for traditional protocols and subordination. His attempts to take credit for Trump's victory and publicly boast about his role create tension within the team. Particularly indicative is the disregard for the principle of remaining invisible, which is critically important for working in Trump's entourage. The potential conflict between Musk and Trump can have serious consequences for the political stability of the United States. Known for his impulsiveness and intolerance of competition, Trump may react sharply to Musk's attempts to take over some of his powers and attention. Such a confrontation could paralyze the administration's work at a critically important stage of forming a new government. The financial schemes implemented through America PAC demonstrate a systematic approach to circumventing electoral legislation. The daily raffles of $1 million are only the visible part of a large-scale operation to influence voters. According to investigations, significant sums are channeled through a network of shell organizations and offshore companies, making it difficult to track the real scale of financing. The international aspect of Musk's activities creates additional risks. His companies have complex financial ties with Chinese state banks, Russian space programs, and other potentially problematic partners. Access to U.S. state secrets, combined with such ties, creates serious threats to national security. Musk's influence on shaping the political agenda through his control over X and other media resources allows him to create favorable narratives and manipulate public opinion. His ability to quickly mobilize millions of followers to support certain initiatives creates a powerful tool for political pressure. Musk's attempts to influence U.S. foreign policy are of particular concern. His unauthorized participation in negotiations with foreign leaders, including the president of Ukraine, demonstrates a dangerous trend toward the privatization of diplomacy. The lack of official status does not prevent him from promoting his own vision of international relations. The appointment of people loyal to Musk personally, rather than to Trump or the Republican Party, to key positions creates the risk of forming a shadow government within the official administration. This can lead to paralysis of decision-making and conflicts between different influence groups. Musk actively uses his technological experience to promote radical changes in government. His ideas for optimizing government processes can lead to the destruction of important control and balance mechanisms in the system of power. The lack of understanding of the specifics of public administration is compensated by excessive self-confidence. The situation is complicated by the fact that traditional restraining mechanisms for such influence are proving ineffective. The judicial system demonstrates an inability to resist financial pressure, and political institutions have no experience in countering such a specific combination of technological, media, and financial power. All this creates an unprecedented threat to American democracy, where a private individual, guided by his own interests and ambitions, gets the opportunity to significantly influence public policy without proper democratic control and accountability. The end of 2022 was a turning point in relations between technology magnate Elon Musk and the Russian authorities. According to the Wall Street Journal, this was when regular contacts between Musk and Vladimir Putin were established, which continue to this day. These meetings, which were carefully hidden from the public, became a key factor in the sharp change in the position of the SpaceX founder regarding the Russian-Ukrainian war. Initially, Musk positioned himself as a supporter of Ukraine, providing hundreds of Starlink terminals to ensure critical communication. However, behind the scenes, another story was unfolding. Unnamed sources in intelligence circles report close cooperation between Musk and the Kremlin leadership, rooted in the early days of SpaceX. Putin personally facilitated the company's acquisition of its first rockets for testing, effectively providing critical support for Musk's space program at the stage of its formation. High-ranking Russian officials, including Putin's chief of staff Sergei Kiriyenko, regularly contacted Musk. These meetings covered a wide range of issues, from personal topics to geopolitical strategies. Particular attention was paid to discussing the situation in Ukraine and the role of Starlink technology in the conflict. In the fall of 2022, a landmark event took place. Musk publicly presented a peace plan for Ukraine, which envisioned an actual capitulation to Russian demands. The plan included a demand for Ukrainian neutrality and recognition of Crimea as Russian territory. Political scientist Ian Bremmer later revealed that this was preceded by direct communication between Musk and Putin, where the Kremlin's red lines were discussed, including the threat of a nuclear strike in the event of an attempt to return Crimea. Russian influence became apparent in the restrictions imposed on the use of Starlink. Ukraine was banned from using terminals to attack the Russian fleet in an offensive operations. These decisions coincided with increased pressure from the Kremlin, demonstrating a direct correlation between Russian influence and Musk's actions. At the end of 2023, relations reached a new level when Putin personally appealed to Musk with a request not to activate Starlink terminals in Taiwan, demonstrating coordination with the Chinese authorities. This confirmed the depth of the Kremlin's influence on the decisions of the technology magnate. In early 2024, Musk made a resonant statement about the impossibility of defeating Putin in the war, effectively opposing further support for Ukraine. This position contrasted sharply with his initial support for the Ukrainian cause, causing concern in Western government circles. The American administration is particularly alarmed by Musk's access to classified U.S. information through SpaceX's government contracts, against the backdrop of his regular contacts with a hostile state. At the same time, many high-ranking White House officials remained unaware of these ties, which indicates a high level of secrecy in communications. Anonymous sources in journalistic circles claim the existence of documents confirming Putin's early involvement in the development of SpaceX. According to this data, the Russian authorities not only provided access to rocket technology, but also ensured the necessary permits and technical support at a critical stage of the company's development. This support could have become the basis for Musk's further loyalty to Kremlin interests. The change in Musk's rhetoric regarding the war in Ukraine demonstrates a clear correlation with the intensity of his contacts with the Russian authorities. His public statements increasingly reflect the narratives of Kremlin propaganda, creating the impression of a coordinated information campaign. A series of high-profile scandals related to sexual harassment in Elon Musk's companies have revealed the systemic nature of violations and the toxic corporate culture that has formed under his leadership. According to an investigation by the Wall Street Journal, based on court documents and testimonies of former employees, Musk personally participated in creating a hostile work environment and used his position to pressure subordinate women. A particularly revealing case was that of a SpaceX intern who was 20 years younger than Musk. Having met her during her college studies, when she approached with suggestions for improving the company, Musk used his official position to establish a personal relationship. After an intimate encounter, he continued to exert pressure, regularly sending messages and persistently inviting her to his mansion in Los Angeles, creating intolerable conditions for professional activity. Another high-profile case concerns a SpaceX flight attendant whom Musk offered to buy a horse in exchange for sexual services. According to the woman's testimony, after her refusal, the company significantly reduced her work shifts, which was effectively a form of punishment. The situation ended with the payment of $250,000 in compensation on the condition of signing a non-disclosure agreement. The systemic nature of the problem is confirmed by a lawsuit filed by 8 former SpaceX employees in a California court, accusing Musk not only of sexual harassment, but also of creating a toxic work environment filled with sexism and discrimination against the LGBTQ+ community. According to the statement of claim, Musk deliberately posted obscene sexual photographs in the workplace, spread offensive memes, and made derogatory comments. Particular attention is drawn to the case of an employee who left SpaceX in 2013 after Musk offered to have his children. During negotiations with the company's management about her dismissal, she revealed details of this unacceptable pressure, which indicates the long-term nature of the problem. Musk has become a symbol of both the technological progress of the 21st century and its dark side, where innovation is often achieved at the cost of human rights violations, privacy, and democratic principles. His story serves as a warning about the danger of excessive concentration of power in the hands of technological magnates and the need to strengthen democratic control over their activities. If you like this video, I suggest watching my other investigations where it gets even more interesting.